So I've worked with Steve for about the last 20 years, and when I first met him, we were both trained dispatchers, and it was instantaneous friendship. I don't know how, I just looked at him and knew he was going to be one of my best friends, but I can speak to his job, which he loved. We've both worked together for almost 20 years, both been there almost 25 years, and he was really proud of his progression and getting his master's, and he's been promoted, faster than most people I've ever seen at the railroad, and he was very proud of that, and he should have been. And he started as a trainman, he went to a dispatcher, then a bunch of other jobs between. He was a director and still going up, and I started as a dispatcher, and I made it all the way to dispatcher. So, and part of that reason is because I was Steve's personal jester at work. So everything I did, he would either prod me to do it or whatever, but I'm pretty much the class clown at work, and Steve was my biggest fan. Just a couple weeks ago, he sent me a picture. He goes, "Some idiot drove a go-kart to work and parked it in the garage." He goes, "It has to be you." And I'm like, "It was." So, Steve loved his job. He loved everybody he worked with. It's a great company to work for. He would want me to just thank everybody at BNSF for the career they gave him, and he loved all of y'all, and he loved his job. So do I. So, now for the hard part. Where do we go from here? And what do we do with all the emotions? So I texted Steve on Sunday the 22nd, wanted to go have a drink with him because I needed to talk about something, and he said, "I'm in the hospital on oxygen." I'm like, "No, you're not. Whatever, shut up." He goes, "No, really, dude, I am." And that was the last time I talked to him. And I never worried about it until a few days later, and I had hope right up to the very end. And the ups and downs of the last 2 weeks for all of us have been just insane and terrible. And at first I was mad at God, I really was. And then almost instantly God started healing all of our hearts. We all have been on the phone for hours. I've been talking to Mandy and all of them for hours, and it's that my anger has been replaced with love for everybody. And it's amazing how God has worked like that to help start the healing process. We're never going to understand why this happened. I've asked why a million times until we get up to heaven and can ask God. So the one remarkable thing that I've seen over the last 2 weeks is two women that have shown more love and grace and compassion and class than I thought was humanly possible given the situation. And you're an amazing woman. You're an amazing woman. And I love you both. And I cannot believe how strong both you are and how wonderful both of you are. And I love you both. So, one of the lessons I learned early on with Steve and Mandy, before I had my daughter, is let anyone that wants to love your kids love them. And there's a whole room full of people that love Jason Cash, and a whole stage full, and there's a whole country full of people that love them. And I try to do the same with my daughter, and that's the best lesson I ever learned, and it's going to pay off in spades now, because they need everybody that can love them. And the other lesson I've learned is be a better friend, even when times are awkward and tough. And so I have an ex-wife too, and sometimes we accidentally, when we're talking, I just drop her off at basketball or ballet, and she's like, "Okay, love you." I'm like, "No, I don't." So now instead of that, I'm going to say, "I love you" as the daughter of my mistress, because I do. And so we just need to say, "I love you" more to everybody, and just let Steve's love for life and his laughter, Steve's laugh was bent over like that. And it was almost overacting, but it was for real. And so I'm going to end it with that, but I have to do one thing. And this is for Steve. I'm Steve's personal jester. So I got that one more time.
We would not want it any other way. Hold on, I'm not even going to hang on. This is what Steve would want.
All right. Do you know what Steve's favorite movie is? I don't either, but it's probably rated R. know that 3.14% of all sailors are pirates? So, it's okay, this is a pirate.